What's going on, everyone? It is Kevin with ALTimate Flips coming to you the last day of November. Looking forward to December, the holiday season. Just getting done with Thanksgiving. The Black Friday sales that are still going on, the ones that were supposed to end on Friday that have been extended, and they'll be extended again tomorrow. And then they'll go with Cyber Monday, and then we'll extend those, and we'll extend those for everything for Christmas shopping and whatnot. So with that being said, we do have our Black Friday sale going on till Sunday. We didn't extend it. That's when we're going to expire it out, at Sunday evening, to where we'll go ahead and do another sale on Monday. We won't call it a Cyber Monday sale, but it'll be a Monday sale where we'll probably drop the percentage down. And right now, majority of our eBay store is 30% off. Our main store, not our second store, the graded store. And so with that being said, we have 30% off. Go ahead and buy in bulk because there's free shipping. So where else do you go ahead and buy a bunch of singles from baseball, football, basketball, and then we have a little bit of MMA and that on there as well, and then get free shipping as well. So if you're looking to complete a set, if you're looking for some low-end cards for your PC collection, that's what we have. So we'll definitely put the link down below. But what I think I want to talk about is maybe our most controversial video that we will ever put up. Maybe there'll be others. And I say controversial because I said I've talked before about putting a video out about bad influencers, in my opinion. And so I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I just think in general, if you think back those that grew up collecting cards back in the 80s, maybe early 90s, and how card collecting was back then, and we didn't have graded cards, we didn't have all the different brands of cards, or I should say variety of cards that there are today. It was very simple for the most part. It was Topps, it was Fleer, it was Donruss. We did have, some other cards come out later on down the road, but for the most part growing up, it was Topps, Fleer, Donruss, mainly Topps. And you would go ahead and you would get together with your friends and you would trade cards. And it wasn't necessarily, you still had the Beckett price guide, but you knew off the top of your head pretty much what anything was worth. And so sometimes it would be a 1-for-1 or a 5-for-1 or 2-for-10, whatever it was, trade of cards amongst friends. Or you would do a 3-person trade. You have 3 friends together, and I'll trade you this, but I wanted this, and it would go round robin so that everybody would end up with the card that they wanted. Now here we are, current day and era where grading cards, PSA is king, and then you have SGC and BGS and CGC, HGA. You have all these different card grading companies, and it's the chase for a perfect 10 or a pristine or black label or gold label graded card. And then for some reason a card gets a 9, and we have bastardized that card down to the same price as a regular, or if not cheaper than a regular raw card, which just seems asinine to me because a card slabbed is already more protected than a card that's not slabbed. So really we should not have a PSA 9 the same value as a raw card, but yet here we are. And how does that determine, how is that dictated? Well, a lot of that I think has to do with our influencers. And if you think of the word hobby, it's something that you do on your spare time, whether on a daily or weekly or however much time, free time that you have for pleasure. That's the whole idea of collecting sports cards, is it was supposed to be and is meant for pleasure. Where I think that we've ruined it with, in my opinion, there's bad influencers. And don't get me wrong, I still think that there's good influencers out there. I like where you see the vlogs where people are going to the card shows, seeing what they're picking up and everything else. A lot of time these individuals that are going to the vlog are high-end buyers and sellers, and so it's not really reality for somebody like maybe you or I or the average person, because we can't afford those cards, let alone one card, but the multiple cards that we're doing in these sales and forking out $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Or I don't run a store to where I can go ahead and afford that kind of money to be dished out as well for inventory. So I do like to see that content, of see what's going on at the card shows. I do not like the fact, and if you think about what an influencer is it influences individuals to purchase something based off of their leverage of how many followers they have, people listen. You go to the doctor, you tell the doctor this is what your problem is, and you listen to the doctor because they are the doctor. They practice medicine, and I use the word practice. And so you listen to them, and you come home and say, well, the doctor told me I need to do X, Y, and Z. Well, it's the same thing with the influencers that you're watching online now. Me, I guess you could call anybody that does a video an influencer, and all I'm trying to influence is let's get back to the word hobby and not social media influencers. We're putting a lot of weight into these influencers, following them, subscribing to them, and they are dictating the value of a lot of cards, whether they are sealed wax, unsealed wax, singles, rookie cards, serial number cards, graded cards, ungraded cards. They are dramatically influencing how the hobby is being ran. And in my opinion, it has taken some of the pleasure away from those maybe the old school or even some of the new school because they don't understand what it's supposed to be, and all they're seeing is the hustle and bustle. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a particular person that I PC, so I'm pretty much strictly a buyer and a seller, but I have fun doing it, that I'm not out here with outrageous, because if you look, majority of my items that I sell, my main store with over 12,000 items are all single stuff that I am selling for mostly $3 and less. Now, are there cards in there that I could grade? Absolutely, but I have no desire to. I grade a little bit of cards. I have 70 cards graded listed on my other eBay store, but I wanted to separate it off because, again, you have the influencers that say when you go to buy a raw card, look at that individual store to see what else they sell, and if they have graded cards on there mixed with their raw cards, then there's a good chance that they already tried to grade that card that you want, and it's not going to get the grade that you want because otherwise it would be already graded and they would have it. While that may be true in some cases, somebody for like me, I don't grade anything and everything in sight. I only grade some things, and it's what I feel that I think that I can go ahead and turn and flip and make $10, $15, $20 or more off of. So yes, I have cards that I've sold that when I've sold them, I'm like, oh, that's perfectly centered. That might have been a nice card to grade and maybe flip, but I don't want to waste the time waiting for it to come back in. I'm not that big of a seller. This is a part-time business for me, not a full-time business. I do have a full-time job that I work 40 plus hours on. And so yes, for me, if I can even spend an hour a day, that is pleasure for me, and that is the fun. I enjoy shipping orders out. I enjoy finding the orders and how I have them organized. And I have done a video to show you my setup here. Over my shoulder here, up on the top, I have 3 boxes for hockey, and then I have 3 boxes for baseball here. So I separate by sports and I alphabetize. I see other people have their different way of listing and how they store stuff on a shelf, or they put them in a team bag and they date them. And then when you list it, they say it's this date for this team bag, so they can pull the card out. I just go to the sport. I have 2, 4, 6 boxes for basketball, 3 boxes for football, and then you have like the Fortnite, MMA, soccer all in one box shared together because I just don't have that many of them. But that's how I do it. So if you buy a baseball card, I go to the baseball card section. It's all alphabetized. It's easy for me. Where it does get to be a pain is when I have 3 stacks that are probably this tall of hockey cards that are all alphabetized, but now I got to get them into the hockey boxes up there, so I have to go through and alphabetize that way. That's probably my biggest pain in the butt. But I am transitioning because I don't want to get into, that's just a lot of inventory. Selling singles, I don't buy the sealed wax as much because that's where I got a lot of my inventory. Is for Pack Fresh, majority of my inventory I broke out of boxes. There are some stuff that I purchased online, and then I've either gone and sent them out to get graded, or I didn't grade them, and and then I just turned around and held on to them to go ahead and flip them later on down the road. I'm not a seasonal seller. So I sell baseball, football, basketball, hockey year round. I don't pull them off, and then when it gets closer to the off season, because I know baseball is going to sell when we get closer to this month, then I go and list all my baseball again. I don't. Matter of fact, like I said, I got a 30% off sale. I'm trying to reduce my inventory down. What I would like to do is hit that mid-range, maybe like $5 to $10, $5 to $20 range for my cards on my main store. And then again, my other store is just going to be for graded cards, and just do the two separate, and then maybe just transition all over to graded cards. But for right now, I enjoy the raw cards and selling those off. And then I get these repeat buyers. I enjoy the repeat buyers. I enjoy the repeat buyers. I don't know why I got a yawn. Excuse me. Scarred. Sorry for that. Been a long day already. But anyways, the repeat buyers, I like it when the individual buys 20 cards. And I can put them all in one order and then put it in a bubble mailer, and then it's secured a lot better than the eBay standard envelope. There's still some areas that haven't figured that out yet. So for me, like I said, I'm not naming names, but I just wanted to point out the fact that we have all these social media influencers out there, and kudos to them that, started with nothing, or they started off as an influencer and then they eventually, their dream goal is to open up a card store. I think that's a phenomenal story, and then they're living their dream, selling cards out of the store. That's something that I would love to do. But for me, I'm content with this, and then my professional career that I do outside of part-time sports card collecting. But what I want to do is just point to the fact that we should be focusing more on the hobby individually and the pleasure that you get out of it, and do not let the influencers start dictating how you should be collecting, when you should be collecting, when you should be selling, when you should be flipping, because they are the ones that are dictating it, and now that's what everybody's looking for. And at the end of the day, if that's the case, then these card stores should just close seasonally too, because in between each season, they might as well just shut down for a month, because there's only 1 or 2 times a year, maybe 3 times a year, when cards would really sell according to your sports card influencers, and then nobody's making money, which is not the case, because you have these vlogs that show people going to card shows every weekend that are selling and buying and everything else at these card shows. So they're still making money. Is there a period of time where you can make more money than you would at other period of times? Of course. It's the roller coaster ride of sports. It's when they're doing well. When they're not doing well, it's the hype before the season starts. But at the end of the day, can you still make money off of sports cards? Yes. The question is how greedy are you? Right, you can hold on to that card for 3 months because you want to make an extra 5, 10, 15 bucks. Or you can sell it now and not worry about holding it, take that money and go someplace else, or pay off something else. And so for me, I got caught up in the hype of COVID and buy. And it was my first time back into the hobby after 12, 15 years. Excuse me. And so I didn't understand card grading hardly at all. I didn't understand prices. I didn't even understand what I was buying. I was buying all the wrong cards, and then come to find out I'm stuck with all this inventory that I'm trying to get rid of, and some of it I had to take a loss because I paid way too much during COVID, and then others of it wasn't even Prism, it wasn't Contenders, it wasn't Bowman, it was everything that I shouldn't have bought at the time, and now I'm left stuck with this inventory, and every time I sell it hurts, because I know what I paid during the COVID couple years or months, and so that's the game with there, is educate yourself before you buy. I got into the fact that I got to buy, and really had no idea. Basically, I bought with my head cut off, and basically developed a huge bill for myself that I pay off when I do that. And so being a very part-time business, I'm proud of what I do. I'm trying to keep my costs down now, get it under control. I don't buy nearly as much as I used to, and now what I buy is something like a part-time PC. And what do I mean by a part-time PC? Like I said, I don't have a regular PC individual that I collect, so I don't have like these binders or hundreds of cards of 1 or 2 or 3 individuals that I've been collecting over time, because I just don't have a real favorite. Maybe one of these times I will pull down a couple of cards off of there that is my only real true PC that I have. And it's just 2 cards, and that's it. But otherwise, in the bottom row, and you can't see real closely, a lot of those are Zion Williamson Prisms. Most of them are BGS 9.5s. And they're not even the silver Prisms. Why? I did it over the summer. I was not a Zion fan when he came out of college. going to the NBA. He got hurt. I watched him play last year, kind of got excited that maybe there was a true potential there, and I could buy in the down period and buy his cards, because then maybe he can snap out of this injury streak and those cards will take right back off again where they were. Well, again, he's out injured. His cards have actually tanked yet again. And so what I paid for those, I would actually lose money selling them. So that hurts. But then the same thing with John Morant. John Morant's cards were way up here until he pulled his stunts. Now his cards are way down again. And so what is the only true guarantee? Wow, I'm going to get hammered for this. Somebody's going to comment about my yawning. At least I'm not clearing my throat 15 times. I don't know why I'm yawning other than it's been a long day. It's 4:37 Eastern time, my time, on Saturday. So I apologize. So where am I going with all this? So I have Zion Williamson that I collect, and right now I've jumped off the Colorado Avalanche bandwagon for hockey, and I'm on the Anaheim Ducks kick. Why? Cutter Gauthier, I like Leo Carlson, I like, Zellweger. There's just a bunch of guys, young guys on that team, Dostal, that I just like watching the Anaheim Ducks right now. Chicago Blackhawks, I feel bad for Connor Bedard, but they're a terrible team. And the Colorado Avalanche, anyways, have looked horrible. So I've enjoyed watching the Anaheim Ducks. I've enjoyed watching San Jose Sharks play with Macklin Celebrini. And so those are just, and I call it a part-time PC, because in another month or so I'm going to sell it. And then something else is going to take its place. So there you have it. So while you may be disappointed because I'm not going to list names of bad influencers, because I think there's some bad influencers that have some good concepts in them, but the problem is they are dictating when you jump, how high you jump, what you should look like when you jump, and it's taken away from the hobby itself, in my opinion, of the pleasure of collecting, which is also driving up the rates at a ridiculous rate. And then we have these sealed boxes that you're paying outrageous numbers for, and you know what, Connor Bedard's not in the hockey cards this year, so guess what, Upper Deck Series 1 is nowhere near what last year's was, and it's just this whole craze that we blow it all the way up, and Connor Bedard really is not doing anything this year. He didn't do a whole lot last year, just hype. And there's still a hype train with Connor Bedard right now. There's a lot of potential, absolutely. Could he be one of the greatest of all times? Absolutely. But so couldn't any other player. And then you always have those sleeper players that come up along that nobody even thought about, right? That could also be the same hype. It's Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson, who's he? But yeah, he put up phenomenal numbers with the Hawks, just on the wrong team. It's the hockey team's the same way. It's football. Caleb Williams, right? He sucks right now on a terrible Bears team. Am I going to say he's a crappy player? Absolutely not. He put up some pretty phenomenal numbers against the Lions. But then you have Daniels for Washington. But then look what happened to Trevor Lawrence. He stinks. Mac Jones. Where are all these guys that we're so hyped on? And it's a quarterback position. And trust me, Cowboys fan, we paid all this money for Dak Prescott, which I think was a big mistake in the season. And he's now out for the season with surgery, and quite honestly, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback at all. And of course, the Cowboys would probably fork over money for Daniel Jones, and I don't think he's a great quarterback either. And so whether he should have stayed with the Giants or let him go was the best thing. That's neither here nor there. So let's get back on topic. Hobby, it's meant to be on your free time. It's meant to be pleasure. Influencers influence, that's the whole term, influencing what you should be doing because they have enough followers to influence that people are going to listen, they're going to jump. People like Gary Vee that's out there to be motivational speakers for how you should go about your daily life. Kudos to Gary Vee. But then when you get into the sports card hobby, some of these influencers to flail around that money and to talk the way they do, you're not seeing the whole entire picture. They're showing you the pluses. They don't show you a lot of the minuses. And not everybody can live that type of lifestyle with the cards. Can you make money? Absolutely. Can anybody make money? Absolutely. Does it come quicker than others, for others than some? Absolutely. But there's a lot of grind in card businesses, and I know there's videos out there right now about people that are getting out of the sports card hobby. They're closing their store. They're selling their inventory. Why? Because of the influencers, in my opinion. It's taken away from the pleasure of the hobby, and it beats you down, and it's a grind every single day. And if you can't stay positive and find that happy place of during doing the hobby, that's why these people, I think, are going to drop out. It's just because it picked them apart, and it picked them so hard that they just can't stand it anymore, and it's no longer fun. And that's what I'm afraid of, is you get people that are enjoying the hobby, that are in the hobby, they're enjoying it, they're having pleasure, and eventually that gets taken away from them because of the influencers. So I would just say with caution, just be careful of the influencers, listening to them, and what you should or shouldn't do. At the end of the day, it's your PC, it's your collection, whether you think it's worth it or not, or what the public even thinks, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're happy with what you have, that's really all that matters. If you want to spend $30 to open up a box of cards from Target or Walmart, and people tell you don't, but you're happy doing it, go and do it. If you're happy collecting somebody that really doesn't have a lot of value, but you're happy because there's maybe a personal connection, it's a local, you've watched them play in person, then go do it. Don't let somebody tell you these are the top 5 people you should, these are the top 10 people you shouldn't buy because of this reason. Well, what reason is that? At the end of the day, it's a PC collection. It's for pleasure. It's what makes you happy. That is all that matters at the end of the day. I've rambled on too long, and this is not normally my video, but here I am. I'm not trying to be the influencer, other than just to use a word of caution. There's a thing, there's hobby, go ahead and look up the definition. There's influencers, go ahead and look up the definition. And when those two collide, that's where we get problems. So I'm going to end it on that. Go ahead and check out our eBay store, though. 30% off through Sunday, this Sunday, December 1st. After that, price goes down probably to 25 or 20% off. But we do appreciate the support from everyone. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. I think we're going to do more of these, but maybe more topical. And then, because I'm not buying a lot of cards, I have some orders. I have 4 orders out with PSA that are waiting to come back. I have an SGC order went out, but it was a Cooper Flag, Bowman Now, Topps Now, whatever it was that came out. I jumped on the bandwagon because I had some credit with Topps. So I bought 10 cards and then sent them off for the $10 grading SGC. So with that being said, I appreciate you taking time to watch. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. As always, stay safe, stay healthy.